Yeah.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Johnny Stanton. We have Reginald Perryman and Shaka Williams. We are TSARE. This is the There's Something About Real Estate podcast where we talk all things real estate. Welcome. So what up, Doe?
What up, though?
We are a Detroit-based podcast, so we have to, give it that Detroit flavor.
Yeah.
That's our home.
What you about to say,
But
Reg?
anyways, so we got special guests with us, Lynette Graham, investor, entrepreneur. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Yes, investor, entrepreneur, financial investment educator, and loving it. Loving this journey that I'm on, really to help and educate the masses, as many people that will listen and who are ready to get ready for this transfer of wealth.
Okay,
Cool.
transfer of wealth. Let's stop. Invite our guests to follow, subscribe on all the podcast platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music,
iHeart, all of that good stuff.
Yep, everywhere.
Google Podcast, Breaker,
We need the subscription.
all the ones you ain't heard of.
It's free. Just push the
Yep.
button. Push it. Oh, we got some special guests in the room with us. So let's get into it.
You gonna make Shaka listen today?
I'm listening.
What you listening?
I'm
Cause he don't never listen.
You got
He always argue. I'll be like, man, the sky blue. He be like, no, it ain't. You
It's
see
red.
that white up there?
That sound like Reggie.
No,
I love it. So you usually the talker?
No. Reggie.
No, he the
just
argue.
a no for-
His
the no
nickname
because.
is Dr. No.
Nah.
No, because-
You know what they be mad about?
Oh,
They be
you have a
mad
T that say no because.
So I'm gonna say this.
No,
All
right,
right.
comma,
If you say
because.
something that.
Dot.
So I've been around. So I understand what's going on. So as long as you be like, so they came over, gave their truth.
Yeah.
And it was real.
Yeah.
I didn't say nothing. I was quiet. But if you come in here and you say some BS, then I'm gonna ask you about it.
He gonna say no
Well,
because.
no, the thing is, we always argue. The reason I brought it up, because when we talk about like investing and things of that nature, he's like more like one way.
Yeah.
It's not either or it can be an and. So it's like this scenario may work for this person. He like, why would they do that? And I'm like, because that's right for them.
Yeah.
So I'm more.
That's normally on our individual podcast. Though.
Yeah,
Right.
but I'm more. No, I think that's the difference. So the difference is that Reggie and sometimes Janita's in the middle.
Right.
So Reggie is constant. You know what I mean? I want to use the word safe, right? He's constant. He's Reggie, right?
Right.
Janita's in the middle, and then I'm on the other side. But I'm on the other side based on what I've done.
Got you.
Right.
Makes sense.
All right.
On your
So-
experience.
Yeah.
Got you.
Miss Graham, tell us a little bit about your background and who you are, where you're from, and how you got started.
Okay, well, I am originally from Detroit, Michigan, born and raised. A proud graduate of Renaissance High School
Yeah.
by ad.
West Side.
West Side, all the way. I actually started in this a long time ago. Started in college, actually. Where I wanted to do something in finance. By the way, my degree is in finance. I knew I wanted to do something in this field, but I didn't know what, right? So at the tender age of 18, I started working in the banking industry. And I started from the ground. So I started as a teller because I really wanted to kind of, I was 18. I was like, let me just check this out, right? And then from there, I already had managerial experience. So from there, got tapped on the shoulder. Hey, what do you think about going into the managerial role? Assistant manager, branch manager. Sure. Working my way up. Mind you, I'm still in undergrad, still doing my studies and working banking, right? And then from there, I got to learn the ins and outs of the bank when I got into that role. And then from there, tap on the shoulder. Hey, what do you think about financial advising? I was like, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, let me try it. I always wanted to learn that aspect of it, investing and things of that nature. So got my Series 7, 63, 66, life and health.
Hold on. You didn't do Primerica, did you?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Everything from me came from banking.
Okay.
I was
Ain't no
actually at the
knock on
time.
Primerica.
No.
That's not a knock. I just asked.
No,
Right,
at the time
okay.
I was at Bank of America, Chase. I worked at some of your top institutions, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, all of them.
Right.
So I got my licenses and hey, the rest was history. Then I started getting into that role, got a lot of mentors along the way. And then I started seeing a lot of things that I should say I didn't like in that industry. And I wanted to kind of make a change. Where I was limited, though, because when you're in the bank, I had to kind of push what they wanted me to.
Right.
So I was kind of in that mode of, okay, I feel stuck. And now I'm getting upset. My integrity started kind of getting in there. It's like, wait a minute now. You want me to do this for your customers to make you money.
Right.
But you turn around and giving our customers zilch. Zilch.
Right.
So I was like, okay, God, what do you want me to do? And I stepped out on faith, did my own thing. And I wanted to just educate and start educating people how to think like the banks.
So,
Right.
see, that's
what I do, though.
No, that's what I do. No,
that's what I do.
No.
See, sometimes we agree, but he won't admit that he agrees with me. He just be like, "Nah, that ain't right."
I agree with a lot of what Reggie says, but what Reggie will say is sometimes, not always. Sometimes, because Reggie is I told you, constant, right? Status quo don't work because that's what we was taught. Right? But when you know something different than what you was taught, then no, I can't agree with the status quo no more.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
that's where we argue at.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
let's talk about. I'm glad that you led and like went in that direction. Today has been like I'm like okay, the Holy Spirit in here moving around. I feel it. But what's your current passion? So you were in a more structured, institutionalized methodology, and now where are you at with your current passion? And
My passion now is more on an unconventional way of doing things. So I went from that conventional type of structured way, and now I'm really trying to get people to open their minds to, hey, this world is shifting. If you don't see it, I don't know how.
Right.
It's right in front of you, and people are missing it, right? I got a text message where it's like, when they start doing these, they got Bitcoin ATMs and things of that nature.
Right.
And it's like, listen, it's always been that way. It's been in front of you the whole time. But sometimes people like to look the other way. They act like it's not there, put their head under the pillow, whatever you say, because they don't want to believe it's coming. But it's here.
Right.
So it's like, what are you going to do about it? You going to sit back and just wait for something to happen? Or you going to be that one to make it happen? Or you going to be that one to say, oh, crap, what the F then happened?
Right.
And so it's one of those three.
Because we got a big quote unquote capitalized IT. Like, what is it?
The shift, the financial,
shift?
the transfer of wealth. So now we're getting out of the dollar, right? It's devaluing. You can see it right now. Your money is worth less than what? You have $1, it's probably worth 10 cents now because inflation is eating away at your purchasing power, right? So now people say, I feel like I'm making money, but I don't feel like I'm surviving because I'm paycheck to paycheck, and I don't feel like my money is going anywhere. That's because people are not realizing or taking advantage of putting their money in places where your money increases or your assets, like real estate. We talk about that all the time, right? You put it in places where you're going to see it increase in costs or rate or value instead of decrease. You keep it in $1, you're losing.
Right.
You keep it in savings, you're losing because all that's attached to a fiat, right? So you need to put your things, and I bought something here, so I don't play around. 1 ounce silver.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
And so people don't even think about this.
Right.
It's like I'm putting my money in places where I know that it's going to keep its purchasing power as the value keeps dropping.
Right.
The dollar value.
The dollar value, right?
Right.
And so that's what that's what's happening now. So that's
So,
yeah.
I got a
Yeah, go
question.
ahead.
You mentioned earlier about the bank. So when you were working at the bank, it sounds like they was having you sell products even though they wasn't right for the people.
Exactly.
Right. So like what investments would you suggest that people invest in? Like you mentioned the silver, and I'm talking about the average 9-to-5 worker.
Okay, let me put this disclaimer out here
Okay.
first. I'm not giving financial advice.
Right, I understand that.
At all.
Right.
Because people be on, she told me that.
Right.
No.
Well, I'm not saying
But-
like give them advice. So
Yeah.
like people have all these different like, oh, you should put money in real estate. You should
What's
put your money in
Lynette's
stock.
opinion?
Yeah, so because some people argue like stock or real estate. Like some people have a balanced portfolio. What's your advice on that?
Or your
I'll put it
opinion.
like this.
Or
I invest.
opinion, yeah.
I invest with the season.
Okay.
So right
That
now
makes
is
sense.
not the season to
Right.
be in things that's going to devalue
Right.
your purchasing power or your, you want to put your money in places right now. If it's not in gold and silver,
Right.
if it's not in crypto, this is innovation. This is where the future is going. That's the evolution of money, right?
Right.
So if you're not in that space, then kind of you're like almost kind of like left behind type of deal, where
Right.
people will be left behind. So
You're
that's
being
I
exterminated.
like that.
yeah. I mean, I just like to put my money in places where it appreciates in value.
Right.
Not where it's gonna devalue.
Do you invest in real estate? Where's you do?
No, well, my husband, he's in
okay.
real estate. Yep, we have properties and things of that nature. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he does the real estate side. I make sure I keep the money flowing in because we know how things are going with real estate as well. With it could be up
If
and
you don't
down.
know what you're doing.
If you don't know
Right.
what you're doing,
Right.
and you got renters who we know
paying.
that story.
Right. Right.
But I like to keep the money flowing in so we can have a
Right.
nice balance.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So go ahead.
No, that's what I was getting to is having that balance because we see it in real estate. Somebody will only invest in this area, or you want to put your money where it's going to be the best, have the best use,
Makes sense.
right? Whether it's real estate, stocks, Bitcoin, precious metals, or whatever. And so some people just be so single focused on one thing, and those are the people that usually crash and burn when that thing falls apart.
Right.
So true.
Right.
Very much true.
No, we're not playing this game. So we don't
I
keep it.
said, what you mean?
All right. So I'm glad that you've spoken in this direction because you have very quickly talked about the dollar depreciating. You have talked about investing in metal and being innovative in your investments. So I want to talk about Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh, one of my I like him.
And I'm bringing this up because when we're all reading this book or listening to it, whatever your preference is, this is something that was written over a decade ago, and it's talking about the transition and being innovative and thinking about who do you want. It's really like who do you want to be and what do you want to happen with your money, right?
Exactly.
So I want to ask everybody. So we all read I don't know if Marie and Sean have read it. We have some in-house guests today, but Lynette, you kind of speak from this when you're in your seminars or giving education to people, right? So tell us a little bit about the 4 quadrants and what it means.
I like how he's broken down the 4 quadrants because it makes sense and as far as where you want to go, right? So they're broken down into an employee, and then from there, self-employed, business owner, and then investor. Investor is the quadrant you want to be in, right? So employee is just your employee. You're working your regular job, your 9 to 5, and doing it every day, right? From there, you have your self-employed. The difference with the self-employed is that you're kind of still an employee because if you're not there for your clients, you don't make money, right? You got to be up, you got to be there. If not, you don't get paid.
Right.
Where you want to get, now that's the left side of the quadrant. More people need to get to the right side. Right side being a business owner, right? Where you have employees and now they work for you type of deal, right? And then the investor. The investor is where your money works for you while you sleep. That's the quadrant you want to be in. And a lot of people think like, oh, I got my job. I make 6 figures, blah, blah, blah. But what happens when your 6-figure job is gone?
Right.
Fire you or they go on strike.
No, like for real though, I want to give like the disclaimer of like, there's no diss on people who want to do that because one of the things that I did like when I was like reading the book is, he even says, look, if you're happy, stop, and you're good, we can stop here. Yep. And that's fine, for those individuals. But we're speaking to people who maybe not, find themselves happy in those situations. Because like our past guests from the last show, that's one of the things that we talked about was, being in a job not being so happy and feeling like pursuing other options, right? So for those people who are pursuing other options for income, now we need to learn how to work smarter.
Work smarter. Leverage. That's my favorite word. Leverage.
Right.
It's like you can do so much, but don't have to put as much into it. You're working smarter, not harder. So massive productivity with little effort. That's what leverage is. And more people just have to kind of get into that space. But like you said, you fit in where you fit in, right? And like she says, no diss. But in this world we're in right now, like you have to have a plan B, C, D. Like you don't want to be kind of stuck with one thing. Now, if you love your job, that's fine. I tell people I don't knock what you do. Some people love what they do, and that's fine. But you still got to get into the mindset of having additional streams of income.
Right.
And not just be stuck with just that one thing. Because that one thing could be going to that one job that you say, I love so much, I would give any. Tomorrow, you never know how the economy is going to be. So what are you going to do? Right?
I swear I just had a meeting with somebody and I was like, you can't pay me to work. And, really trying to make the person understand. It was like, at any given moment, something could happen in the economy. And now your job is gone. Now, I understand as investors, we could experience some down curve and we have to shift and pivot. But it's a little different than somebody just completely taking the job away, right?
Well, what I always tell people that's working 9 to 5 or even self-employed people, so being in real estate, it gives you a fast track to being an investor, right? And a business owner. So the whole purpose of when I talk to agents, your purpose of generating a massive amount of income is so that you can invest and take advantage of those opportunities when they come up. So when somebody come with a commercial building, you got the money to do it.
You can be it. That's right.
So you can still have your 9 to 5 or be self-employed and be an investor.
There it is.
And
you can be an E and an I.
You
right?
can be
you
both
can.
until you feel comfortable enough to let go of that job.
That's
Too
right.
many people think, oh, I'm 9 to 5, now I'm investing, I got these 2 properties, I'm going to quit my job. That's probably not a smart decision, right? You need to find other ways to invest that money until you're really comfortable where you're replacing that income. And you still have money left over to keep investing as well.
And there's nothing wrong with being an E and an I.
Exactly.
Right? So he even talks about in that book, he talks about you kind of want to be on both sides if you can, right? So a lot of people get that wrong because if everybody was on the right side, shit, none of us would make no money, right?
Right. And everybody
Talk
don't.
about the 5 levels of investors, Shaka. Do you remember?
What do you mean? Which one you want me to talk about?
Let me say this
What are
before he say that too. Everybody doesn't have the patience or the tolerance to be a business owner.
Right.
Right. We have to
That's
talk
where I'm
about
struggling.
that.
Or the ability.
Because some people, some people, like when we talk about flipping real estate, we get a lot of people that say, oh, I want to invest in real estate. No, you want to make a return on your money.
Right.
Because you don't want to deal with contractors, renovations going, so some people, they may want to skip being a business owner and just be an investor only. And that's what we talk about.
That's why they can be on both sides, right?
Right.
And they have to understand. I run into this a lot where people, they want to just do. That's how I make my money, right?
Right.
So I make my money by finding people and I put them in a place that they want to do what they enjoy doing every day.
Right.
So my contractors, a lot of times, they enjoy working every day because they're doing what they love doing every single day.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing
you know
wrong
what I
with
mean? So just because you're not the business owner anymore, some of them come from being business owners.
Right.
You know what I mean? They own their own, or self-employed. They were self-employed that think they own businesses. And then they realize that's a lot of work. I don't want to do all that work.
Right.
Let me be the E.
Right.
Do what I do every day, and then I can still invest in real estate.
Right.
So go ahead. What you were asking me about something?
So so based on the book, I think he kind of ends off with, if you can, you really want to be on the side of capitalism and you want to be a business owner that invests. And so he talks about these 5 levels of business, and the first level is like your saver. And, you know, basically, so I hate to talk like this because he was like, it was crazy how blunt he is.
He called savers losers.
Right. 'Cause you are.
You're losing money. I mean, he's not saying you're a loser, but he's saying you're losing money.
Blunt
You're
in
losing
his
money.
book.
I like the way
Sorry, you're not a loser, but you are losing money.
He says that savers, you know, pretty much have like 0 financial intelligence. But more so because they're not seeking out the knowledge, you know?
Well, maybe they don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
So some people think that you were taught to, a lot of us were taught save,
Use your
right?
Save it
But that's kind of what she was speaking to when she was talking about. So they probably tell you like, bring them in, put all your money in this high interest savings account, earn your 1% or whatever. You know what I mean?
And then while you
It's
at it,
less
get like 3 more credit cards. Not like you need another one, but get 3 more credit cards and do this. But
So that's what he means by a loser. He's not calling you a loser, but you're not making money on your money.
I mean, he literally called out Warren Buffett in his book. I just got a question. We're going to pivot for 1 second. Did they have a diss track?
No.
I'm just.
First of all, he can't diss Warren Buffett. What
I know if it was like a diss track, like, you know, Jay-Z and Nas, Biggie and Pac.
Nope.
But see, that's what we talk about. Like when we was talking about earlier about me and him arguing, because you will hear somebody like Grant Cardone or Robert Kiyosaki, but then you will hear like Dave Ramsey, right? He's like, get out of debt, don't borrow money and all of this. And everybody else is like, borrow as much as you can and invest it, right? So it's different philosophies, but then when you look at them, they're all making money and their systems work for them.
they work for them.
But they talking about from a different perspective too.
Yeah, because Dave Ramsey is talking to the average American that's living check to check. But Grant and Robert is talking to people that's
the other people, the 1%.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So I was just watching the series. It's the one about oxycodone, but the hospital, the guy who like owned everything, the big guy, he died. And they show him, like, when he's talking to the family's trying to figure out, like, okay, what's being divided, you know, within the family, you know, what do we get? And they find out, they're like, oh no, Unc was leveraged highly. It was dead. We got our names all over everything. They show like these old still reels of him dancing and like living it up.
Right.
And when he passes, the family is like, yo, what do we have? So he was highly leveraged. However, he still was a businessman and he left businesses.
Right.
So it was like, you know, yeah, I lived my life. I had a great time. I was probably a billionaire for all intents and purposes. Now these businesses that I've left to each one of you people, you do what you please.
Right.
So I feel like he was definitely a B, but he wasn't an I, and which was his issue.
I might have hold on because in here he talks about where you leverage. So you buy then you like basically like Burr. So you have your investment. And then you pull the money out of the investment and then you reinvest. So you don't think that guy did that at all?
He definitely did not do that. So, because that's where life insurance comes into place, right? You know, life insurance is that's the investment, right? So he was a B. He had a oxycodone was something, he invented something like Facebook damn near.
No, that guy didn't invent that.
Whatever. He owned the company. He owned the business that invented it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So
Pharma.
he didn't but still, you still got to invest.
Yeah.
You can't just own you can't just own the business. You have to invest as well, and that's where insurance comes into place. He didn't have that. So when he passed away, instead of him transferring his wealth, they got taxed.
I got a question. I got a question. What's your opinion? Because some people value net worth over cash flow. So some people have like a high net worth. Oh, I'm a millionaire on paper, but then their cash flow might be like $50,000 a year. So what do you think is more important for, and I'm talking like the average American, right? So is it net worth or cash flow, monthly cash flow?
I mean, I think cash flow is always king. You want that
Yeah,
cash flow coming
I
in
agree.
regardless, because your net
Yeah.
worth can go down, right?
Right.
But if you don't got the cash flow coming in,
Right.
how are you balancing that out? How are you
Yep.
keeping it going? So it's the same, not like what he was saying. If the insurance was there and they could kind of have that cash to let
Right.
it keep going, keep moving, investing,
Right.
let it keep growing. That's
Yep.
the part that people miss. The growth.
Right.
You're building generational wealth, but you have to have the cash flow to continue building.
You got to
Right.
pay the bills. You got to pay the.
Yeah,
you got to
you
pay the
got
insurance
to.
policy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
most
it's
people
tough.
misunderstand
Yeah.
that, because it's
Yeah.
a lot of people claiming they're millionaires. They're millionaires on paper.
On paper.
But as soon as them assets change in value, they're no longer a millionaire.
That's right.
But if you still got that 80, 100,000 coming in a month, I'll
right.
take that any day.
And you can pass that to your kids.
Kids,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I got that going, when I'm dead and gone, my
Right.
son can still eat off of that.
Right.
And continue. And if I taught him correctly, then it could keep going
Yeah.
Right.
for generations to come.
So
Yep.
I'm not arguing this, but there's a caveat to that, right?
Yeah.
Because
You are
and-
arguing.
kids.
That's how you always start.
It's not an F them kids
Right.
situation, but
knew that's
we've
where you
seen
was
a lot of times
Right.
where somebody leaves the business to the kids, and the
Yeah.
kids run the business into the ground.
Yeah.
If
Because
they're educated.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
and then that's kind of that's why the insurance is insurance.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, everybody may not be able to run your business. Like
Right.
so right now,
Or they don't want to.
unfortunately, I don't have anybody. Like if I left here, I don't have nobody that's going to be able to run what I have.
Right.
So that
We gotta
my
work on these
insurance
kids.
is important. It's just as important as the cash flow, because the cash flow is cool right now, but if the person that's running the cash flow doesn't run it the right way, that's going to go away anyway. So
Right.
you need to have a balance. You need to have both.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, let's
Yep.
flow out of so savers are losers. They're saying that the savers park the money in things like savings accounts, savings bonds, maybe like
Mutual
retirement,
funds.
Yeah.
mutual
Stuff
funds,
like that, yeah.
things like that. And that's probably not the smartest thing to do with the money. That was level 2. What was level 1?
That's level 2.
But wouldn't you
Level
agree
1
that
is
people
just-
need to have some money saved, though? They can't just go out and invest, because you need to have something liquid for emergencies, right?
Right, you gotta have it. I
Okay.
agree with that.
Right.
Definitely have to
I'm
have some
tough.
emergency.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm the person. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing. But
Right.
I'm the individual.
He's
I
disagreeing.
have invested my last money. If I had, I have a story. But my last bit of money, I
Right.
put that shit in real estate, and
True.
you know what I mean. I'll be broke for right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what people don't understand. So that's why
No,
I'm
but
saying you gotta
your
be
level
careful.
of broke is probably different.
Correct.
Right.
I
I'm
agree
talking
with that.
about. I'm talking about again the average American. What's the median household income? Like 70,000.
You talking about you don't got nowhere to live, bro.
No, I'm talking about somebody living paycheck to paycheck, and somebody living paycheck to paycheck. They say the average person, if they got $1,000 emergency, they don't have the money to cover it. So I'm saying, if you're a 6-figure earner or something like that, you should have at least 5,000 or 10,000 in the bank.
Yeah,
Well,
they
you
do
need
say,
that anyway
yeah.
because
Right.
anything can happen. You got to replace something in your house or
Right.
whatever the case. You need some extra cash, something
Right.
set
I got a
aside
question
to put.
about that.
Yeah.
What about having the $10,000 credit card
Boom.
under them?
There it is. Boom. Right. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, and that's just different scenarios for different. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
Go-
I was about to say, so like
Right.
instead of maxing out the $10,000 credit card, so you got approved for it, you got the money. Instead of maxing it out, maybe you pay some bills with it, earn those points,
Earn some
send
points.
some other people
Yeah.
money,
Right.
but you park that credit card instead of parking
Your
the
cash.
liquid.
That's
money.
making money.
Yeah.
So your
Right.
cash make money. My cash
Right.
always make money
But the,
Right.
the
the,
entire time. I don't ever want to. I don't want no money. I hear y'all.
Yeah.
But I don't want any money in the savings account because I'm not earning anything on that savings. My credit card, that does cost me money. But we invest. We all invest, right?
Right.
How do we want to invest? Do we want to invest our money or we want to invest somebody else's money?
Somebody
right,
else's.
that's
Right.
leverage.
But-
Right.
That's
But
leverage.
what I'm saying is, you're talking from your experience
I got you.
and your experience with money. So, like, if you were advising somebody, you would base it on their experience with money and their tolerance of risk.
Because here's the thing, we got to think, even with credit cards, you use them, think about interest rates and where they're going. You know, it gets to a point where some people, where these interest rates are going, may not be able to pay that back. So I guess it is dependent on your experience level and your mindset. Your mindset is key, because most people, I agree. I totally agree with you. If you have that mindset and you can be disciplined to do that, do it. But we live in a world where a lot of people do not have that mindset. They are not disciplined.
The key word was discipline.
What's level 1?
That's just basically doing nothing.
Right.
Doing absolutely nothing. Just making money and doing, I mean, that's scary. Yeah. You making money and it's just, you don't know where it's going.
You see a lot of people are like that.
Yeah,
they
it's
make
like
$100,000 or better. They can't buy a house.
They can't buy a house.
I was like that a long time for my first 5-6 years in real estate.
Yeah, and you'll ask people too. You'll be like, you know, and then people got to start thinking about their number. What's your number?
Right.
And you ask people that, people are like, what? How do you know where you want to go if you don't even know what that number is?
Yeah, that's where you hit me at the last time you were speaking, because when I was still, you know, working like the traditional job, that was always my thing. Like I've always had this number. Yeah. Even when I met Shaka, one of the people that be like, "What's your number?" I had this number. This number has not changed. Now it may have, if it's changed, it's increased.
Right.
But I've always had a number.
Right.
But you were talking about how, like, it's not necessarily like an easy feat to come up with your number, because you have to spend time with yourself. You have to think about what you want. You got to dive a little deeper, and it's like it's not, you know, about any of the people that's in the room. Right. It's like all about you.
Right.
So like, what is your number that you need to, you know, be satisfied?
Yeah, because here's the thing. There was a time where they used to say you need $1 million to retire comfortably. Right. That number is between 3 to 5 now, right? You take $5 million and divide that by 365 days.
Right.
That's the number.
Yeah, you really need about $8 million.
I'm good at math. But I don't know what
you know it, don't you?
Yeah. What, divide that, do $3 million by 365 days.
Okay, I'm going to try to do it in my head. I normally try to do that in my head. But hold on, you said $3 million?
Divided by 365.
Okay. 8,219. So
wait, by 3 million divided by 365, 8,000. You need to make that per day.
Yeah.
Right.
Per day. Who's making 8,000? You know, you think now we go back to the E, the I, right? How many people are prepared right now to say, I am ready, I can retire comfortably?
Well, you would make that in a year. So it's not per day. So, because if you was making that number per day, you would make that $3 million in a year. So we want. So your retirement age is about 62.
62.
And then I guess you got. I guess I don't even like using those numbers because you don't know. I guess it depends on. It's too many variables for it.
Well, you can take it and divide it by 20 as well. Yeah. 20 years, right? Let's take that scenario. But either way, so I do that exercise though, so people can see, because you can take it and divide it by 20. Even then, people are not making those type of numbers. So now I get to the point of you're making one stream.
Right.
We can't be afraid to build that wealth and make additional streams of income. Right. Because you're going to need it the way things are right now.
Right. She doing what you call, like, you remember breaking it down to the ridiculousness? Yeah. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 150,000, I'm sorry.
Like, you breaking it down to the ridiculousness, because the whole thing is a lot of people don't start when they're supposed to. It's like, you know, my kids are in their early 20s and I try to talk to them about this stuff, but they're not interested, right? So by the time they get interested, now they're going to have to like play catch up. It's kind of like me when I'm 30 years old sitting at the desk and I'm doing my number and I realize, like, okay, if I'm 70 and I realistically don't want to be on like fixed income, and I want to live a certain lifestyle, and I want somebody to, if I need care, I want them to come to my house, and I want somebody to take care of my lawn, and I want to, you know, live like a certain quality of life.
That's what you have kids for.
No, but because the whole thing is, what you realize, you can't. So that's great if you can depend on the children, but the reality is a lot of stuff we need to have planned for ourselves. And I think that's what we're not taught.
Yeah. And I'm going to give you this. This is going to blow your mind. If you think about this, if somebody told you, this for anybody, to save, start with $1 and just double your money every year for 20 years.
Yep.
You would be a millionaire.
Compounded, right?
You would be a millionaire, but some people have worked over 20 years and still, like, when you think about that, I'm a numbers girl. So when I think about that, it's just mind blowing.
Right.
Because that's the reality.
So let's talk about this level 3 of investor. I'm too busy.
I want to say something. You know what scared me about money? I read a book called Creature from Jekyll Island.
Oh, yeah.
You know about that
Jekyll
book?
Island, how money started. And that's another thing people need. If you understand where it started, your whole mindset. That's just like, what's that thing? If people knew how money would really work.
Right.
The country would be,
Reserve
we would be in a riot, or everybody would go crazy overnight if you really understood how money worked.
So you're going to come back in a month and we're going to talk about that one.
Yeah, because
that's a good book. That's a great book.
The thing is, I read it too young, so all the money I had, I just started spending it. But when I reread it, I understood, like, hey, you're not like you say, we're not supposed to keep holding on to it. You got to make it work and bring back and have some physical assets, because the dollar is going to change. So when you talk about precious metals and things like that, because that book it scared the heck out of me.
All right, Reg, going to the level 3 investor. That's the I'm too busy investor.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
so,
everybody.
I'm too busy to learn. Others will manage my money. I'm going to go and find somebody like Nanette to trust them. Hope she knows what she's talking about. She could potentially be a crook.
Yeah, we see a lot of people fall for that in real estate. Oh, this deal is worth this, and you can fix it and flip it and do this, and then they tell you they're going to manage it and hire the contractors for you, and then they run off with your money. Right.
Mostly people that make a lot of money fall into that category. So doctors, lawyers, professional sports players, those people fall into that category.
And they become lazy investors because they don't want to do the extra work to maximize their return on investment, or they pay a higher premium for somebody that really knows what they're doing. But then sometimes they fall into your Bernie Madoffs or something like that, and they fall for them schemes.
Yeah, they say these people are normally investing like your IRAs, your 401k. So the 401k stuff, it's so crazy because same time frame, when I'm thinking about, like late 20s, early 30s, what I want to do for retirement. My uncle is a economics major. So is his wife. She's a 30-year Comerica branch manager, right? Oh, gotcha. So when I call him and I'm like, I want to get the IRA and I want to do 401k, and he'd be like, well, you like real estate, right? And this is my very, very thoughtful, quiet uncle who doesn't, get too riled up about things. Right. And he's like, what I want to tell you is you're already doing the right things. Just keep putting it in real estate. And I'm like, well, what about the 401k? You don't think I should do the 401k? You don't think I should max out the 401k? And he'd be like, just put it in real estate. And I'd be like, and then I'll call him like 6 months later and then a year later. And I'd be like, so you don't think I should do the 401k right now? And he'd be like, are you investing in real estate? So like the 401k, they're basically saying that like our tables are turned at that point. So like we go and get other people's money and use it, but the 401k, they come and get our money, use it. It devalues the most potential, the most potential.
401k is not 401k. It depends, right? Yeah. It's not it's not a blanket statement. Because if your employer, if you're working a job, if you're an E, and you have employee matching, and your employer is giving you free money,
that's a great tool.
You maximize your 401k.
I agree. Yeah. I totally agree.
If you're a S or a B or anywhere else other than the E, or even if you're a E and you're not getting match, that's when you're the saver. That's when they say you're stupid, right? Or whatever he called it, a loser. You know what I mean? Because now you're putting your money in something that doesn't. You can go out here. This is a real thing I say. I tell everybody that say that anybody that say they work 60 hours, 40 hours, how many hours they work. I be like, bro. So you mean to tell me you can't go out here in the world and work that amount of time and make the same amount that you working at your job?
She said the key word earlier, discipline. Most people that quit their job and get into real estate, they only work like 20 hours.
Right.
Me.
And they was working like,
like,
but you establishing, when you establishing, you making
You
money,
working a
you
lot
can
of
do.
hours.
Yeah.
But when you start out, most people be like 20, you barely see them in the office. But I was like, you was working 60 hours
At work.
Yeah.
for somebody else.
Somebody else.
Making less
No,
money.
it's true. I joke about that, but that's like the realest thing in the world. You're going to go punch a clock. You're going to be there from 7 to 3, 9 to 5, 11 to 7.
11 to 11.
With
Shit, they
11
be
to
there
11.
forever.
Forever.
And you're going to live there. But when it comes to putting that energy into yourself,
Yo, shit. You ain't gonna do it? What? When I quit my job, I worked. So I never worked. I can't even work over. I can't even work 8 hours. But if, never. Not even when I worked a job, I could work 8 hours, right? But if there's no way. But when I came out of when I came to my own shit though.
Right.
Shit, you scared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You like, bruh, I hear people all the time say that you gotta slow down or you gotta take some time for yourself. Now,
Maybe
I'm just
peaceful
not getting to
family.
that, right?
Right.
But when you first starting off, hell no, I don't have time for that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I gotta
Right.
get to it. I gotta
it.
figure out everything I can figure out as fast as I can.
Right.
the day go by so much quicker, too. I'll be in my little black box at 5 in the morning, and next thing you know, it's 3. And I'll be like,
Already.
I got it. Oh, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna add to what you were saying as far as I just remember even when I was in banking, it started to be kind of crazy. I'm talking about banking hours. Like everybody wanted the banking hours, 9 to 5.
Yep.
Now I'm working 9 to 8 at
Yeah.
night
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
in a bank. I'm like, what is
Yup.
this?
Say
So
what?
what is going on? So that's when I knew things started to change. It became more of a set, like, let's get all this money in because people don't
Right.
know they invest in that money you got.
Yeah.
That's they want to listen. You get all these call as many people till 8 o'clock, and then it became a truth. It's like if you don't hit this quota,
Yep.
what?
Yep.
In banking, I'm supposed to be helping
Right.
my clients. What are you
Right.
talking about?
Not selling them,
Not
huh?
selling, or it's like you in that office. You was in that office with that client too long.
Yeah.
You
Yup.
in there an hour, 2 hours. You can't build no relationship.
Right.
They need to be in and out. like
Cold calling.
what is
Yeah.
going on
What is
here? So
relationship
you
based?
You was
I
on the
just
phone
knew,
for an hour?
like, yeah,
Ah,
things
hell no.
started just changing and shifting, and even with the 401k stuff, I think what he was kind of getting to there was just not understanding where your money is going, and
Yeah.
what
Right.
it's doing, right? And most people who busy, that's what happens. They're
Right.
like, I don't got time. But then when the fees start popping up, or you're paying too much, or you're paying high interest,
Right.
then it's like, oh my gosh, what? But it's too late. Like,
Or you
I
got 2
think that
million missing out of your
Right.
account. And you're like, how the fuck? How I got 2 million?
So now it gets to a point where you need to like own your stuff.
Right.
Like I feel like we say, mind our business, mind your money.
Right.
And then understand what your money is doing.
Right.
And I think that's where we're at now. And that's where a lot of people are getting burned. It wasn't the fault of the advisor person. It's the fact that you didn't do your due diligence as well, you know? And so I think that's where it goes with the 401k aspect. It's like, we just putting our money into something and it's being put into all these, funds pretty much. And then boom. And then when they decide to liquidate it or sell it, then you just make whatever at that point. And then
Right.
sometimes it could be nothing.
You're not making any
One of the
decisions.
other
No
points-
Some of them-
decisions.
Don't some of them funds, don't they pay commissions to the advisors for selling
Yeah.
people? So it's like
I made a fee.
this fund may not be making you the most
Conflict of
money.
interest.
Yep.
Yeah, it's making them a good commission.
That's
So
right.
it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sell you this one over here instead of that one, even though that one is better.
And then sometimes it was based on my and that's where I'm gonna be dead honest on this show
Right.
because that's where my integrity came in.
Right.
Because I had to feed my family. I need to make money. So yeah, sometimes I'm like, I gotta put you in this fund so I can make the best commission. Right. And most of the time, especially when I got into wealth management, my fees were based on assets under management, based on what I managed for you, how
Right.
much I managed for you. So yeah, it gets kind of, man, I was hurt, but I mean, at the same, it's like, what do? I got to feed my family too.
Right.
I got to do this fund because this is going to give me the most money, and it may
Right.
not always be right for the customer, but then they
Right.
don't know.
Right.
They don't know.
Right.
So
they were talking about and when you go into like that too busy person, the level 3 person that's not paying attention, hiring someone else to do like the managing of the investment for them, they also lose the opportunity to learn.
Yep. You do.
Right.
They don't even want to know though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They don't care. They're like, shit, I got so much money. They too busy enjoying life and shit. They're
Yep.
not worrying about. I mean, I get it. You got to have a good balance, right?
Yeah.
You got to
Right.
enjoy life, but also be paying attention.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, so let's move it forward. You got the level 4, the do-it-yourself, no formal training. Typically, you're a small real estate investor, very focused on like one thing. So
Yep.
I want to learn real estate. I don't know nothing. This is real life though.
Right.
I don't know nothing about stocks.
Right.
Like people come and they ask me all the time because they be like, "Oh, you're doing good. I don't have anything else with this job. What can I do?" And I'll be like, "Get a real estate license."
Right.
But yeah, you know, it's very focused and just don't have the abundance of knowledge to be able to move that vehicle forward.
So it's crazy. So I just read this book this year, 2023, and one of our investors put me on the book because I fit in that category. I was just talking to Janita about that. So I want to say something though. That category is not so. All right, the difference between that category is still in the top. You still in the 1% in that category. Those people that he's discussing,
Right.
they're still in the 1%. They're not in the top 1% though.
Right.
Right. So that's who I was.
Right.
It's actually still who I am in a certain.
Transitioning?
Yeah. Because I still say, I just was telling Janita the other day, I'm like, damn, shit, all of my investments, everything that I make money off of, that I earn from right now it's real estate related, right?
Right.
So
That
now
scares
it's
the hell out of
crazy,
me.
right? Because shit, I've had that before. So in
Right.
2008, I was in the same space,
Right.
and they took that. So just
Right.
imagine they took into. So I don't think a lot of people understand what happened in 2007, 2008. Like when you was
Right.
making a whole lot of money,
Yep.
and then the market crashed, and now the way you made money is gone.
Right.
It doesn't exist anymore, or you got to reinvent it, right?
Yeah.
So I was able to reinvent, but even though I was able to reinvent, I'm still in the same space, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
still real estate heavy.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't own any restaurants, any of the other avenues that you can make money, right?
Right.
Transportation or any of that stuff. Stock.
Right.
You know what I mean? I do own stock, but it's not heavy. It's not gonna make a difference for me, right? So yeah, that's huge. But
But it's the same for me too. Like I'm in the same space, you know, super real estate heavy. But during this conversation that Shaka and I were having, like one of the things that I've been talking to him about lately is we have to start. So the people like those of us in the room that have the knowledge, that have, you know, been moving and shifting and pivoting over the last 20 years, we got to start trusting ourselves.
That's right.
And that was a big conversation that I had to have with like myself. Like, you know what? You have really good intuition. You have a foresight. Like you've been successful even during the first, you know, time we had something go on. I could have made different decisions had I trusted myself.
Right.
And so although I'm real estate heavy, I'm also land heavy, and I'm becoming more and more land heavy. And so my conversation becomes, okay, something happens to us, what do? We grow food, we build a fish farm, dig a hole in the backyard. Like you still have to have some sort of intuition to be able to survive. Just because something happens and, you know, maybe we got to hold the real estate. You know, what's our ability going to be to hold? You know, what are we talking about and having in these masterminds that will help us survive if that time comes again, right? So I'm not necessarily mad about being real estate heavy because I just believe the money is in the dirt. But, you know, how do we shift, right?
Right.
That's a big question.
Yeah, I like when she mentioned the shift. So one thing, and y'all know I've been learning from Jason like the past 5-6 years, but I've been making like small trades. So what I learned from that and my previous experience in real estate, you can make money regardless of where the market is, going up or down. And I'm learning that with the stock market as well, but I haven't been trusting myself to make the bigger investments, right? But at least I have the knowledge now, because at first I was like, oh, I got my SEP IRA and all of this. And I'm like, no, I need to learn this so I won't be that lazy investor, right? So over time, you just got to keep surrounding yourself around the people and getting that knowledge so that you can trust yourself.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, I got a question for you. You brought up like the dollar is changing and everything. What are your thoughts on cryptocurrency? And do you see more than, I know there was like Bitcoin and Dogecoin and all these other coins coming up. What's your thoughts on that? And do you see those other coins kind of fading out and there maybe just being 2 or 3?
So I am a crypto enthusiast.
Okay.
Let me put that out there.
Okay.
I love it.
Right.
It is the future.
Right.
You know, that's the future of money, right?
Right.
When we think about those Dogecoin, it goes back to what we talked about before with people understanding what they're investing. A lot of people lost in that space
Right.
because they didn't understand it. They didn't understand the space. It was just popular. It's like, oh, let me get, it's like, I'm going to get into this, I'm going to get into that. But there is so much to learn in that space. And it's more than just about, you know, Dogecoin or you knew, she knew, he knew, whatever.
Right.
You know, it's more than that. I mean, we're going into a whole artificial intelligence. We're going into DeFi, decentralized finance, right? We got banks where, you know, before that's more centralized.
Right.
People are moving away from that
Right.
because we're now at the point, the reason I love it so much is because I can control the narrative when it comes to my wealth.
Right.
I don't have to have somebody sitting behind the desk pushing buttons and, you know, making trades for me and it's going, no, I don't have to do that anymore.
Right.
I have the AI as my CFO.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So there's a whole new world that's out there as far as that goes, where now everything is on the ledger. Because, you know, with blockchain, you can't fake that.
Right.
Everything is on the ledger, which is why a lot of the banks, same banks I work for,
Right.
are moving into that.
Right.
Because it's going to be easier for them. The fees are going to be a lot lower.
Right.
So it's a whole new world. So it's the future. I love it.
Okay.
I love it.
So
right.
I want you to speak because we got to wrap it up. We got a couple more minutes. Level 5 investor, the capitalist investor, using other people's money, the richest people in the world, the business person that is investing, and maybe talk a little bit more about like the crypto and, you know, how we can be financially better in your opinion.
And so we were talking about the capitalist part. I love that segment of it or that part of the book because that more so talks about using people's money but being smart. Like everything is chess to me, right? It's chess. So let's go back to 401k. I'll give you an example. Yes, it's smart. If you're getting a match, take it.
Right.
You can also, and I'm not giving advice, I'm just
Right.
giving an example.
Right. Right.
What if you took a loan? Right?
Right.
You invest that. You're going to make that money back. Pay the loan back. But most people don't trust themselves to even do that.
Right.
So when we talk about using leverage, other people's money, bank, get a loan. That doesn't mean get a loan, go buy the freshest car out here. That's
Right.
which, you know, that's the difference between assets and liabilities. We get that term. We got more liabilities than assets. Right. So now understanding when you're leveraging and you're using other people's money, you use it the right way, in a way that it's going to benefit you. And then you can pay that back because we know interest rates are shooting through the roof.
Right.
You get a loan now or in the future, interest rates are going to be high for a long time. I don't know if you guys, you know, so, you know, I have conversations now. My conversation is different with people. Right. It's like I understand where your mindset is. If I can come to you and be like, hey, did you watch that FOMC meeting? They're like, what?
Right.
What's that? Okay, I know where your mindset at.
Right. Ninja strategy. Right?
Yeah.
Right. She got that
Right,
ninja strategy she just talked about.
Crazy he brought that up.
Yeah,
That's where I was
because so we had another guest on here that talks about those self-directed IRAs where you can borrow from yourself.
That's right.
And pay yourself.
Pay
interest
yourself back.
as if you're the bank.
That's right.
Right.
Go ahead,
You're
I'm
the
sorry.
bank. No, you're right. You're the bank.
Right.
Treat yourself as that. You control the narrative. You are the bank.
Right.
The bank, if you're putting your money, as we say, savers are losers, it's not in that way. It's saying that if you put it that way, they own your money, right? And they can do whatever they want to do with your money. Meaning you can go in the bank. It gets that serious. You go in the bank tomorrow. I kid you not. I have a friend who works who right now is in D.C. worked for the government. Actually worked for where they printed the money.
Right.
and banks for a credit union. And went in there and the sign said, from now on, if you're withdrawing $2,000 or more, we need advance notice.
Yep. Yep.
It's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is my money. You can't.
Right.
I got thousands, million, and you telling me I can only withdraw $2,000 a day, and rarely that. If I don't, I got to tell you because the money isn't there.
Right.
Right.
It ain't
They're investing your money, making a lot of money off of your money and giving you less than 1%.
Less than 1%. So it's like, come on, people.
Yeah.
Let's wake up. We got to get it together. Like, control your wealth. Control the narrative. Control it so that you can have that financial freedom, that time freedom, that location freedom, which is big for me.
Right.
It's time. Like we gotta get past the, like we said, I don't know. That's somebody else. I don't want to do that kind of stuff.
Right.
I don't want to do, it's time out for that. Right. Putting our heads under the pillow, digging and saying, I don't see it. I don't want to do it. Time out for that. Because guess what? We got a whole system that's moving and moving very swift, very fast. And those who do not take advantage of the change that's coming along, who don't learn this stuff, are going to be so left behind, and that's going to be the scary part.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's going to be the scary part. So educate yourself. Invest in yourself. Let me say it again. Invest in yourself and educate yourself on this stuff. Yeah.
All right.
Bars.
Bars. We had some ninja strategies, some bars being dropped. And this was a pretty good show. Thank you, Miss Lynette, for coming and gracing us with your presence. Where can we find you at?
Got my shirt on today. Women of Sound Wealth is my, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Women of Sound Wealth. And you can follow me there. If you have direct questions, you can always email me at womenofsoundwealth@gmail.com. That's womenofsoundwealth@gmail.com.
All right. And that's a wrap.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
Well,